Road trip to truth? Man, I want to take a road trip, although not to truth, seeing as 9 times out of 10, it's a thing I want everyone to believe despite all the evidence to the contrary pointing elsewhere. No, I want to take a road trip to a whiskey factory, or whiskey construction site, or however/wherever the hell that magical happy juice is made. And then I'm going to take it, all of it, at once, because I deserve something for all the stupid shit I have to put up with. I mean, my own is bad enough already, and then there's this shit.
Have you ever tried climbing a staircase with broken stairs?
You think I use stairs? What do I look like to you, some sort of goddamn peasant? All the floors of all the buildings that I ever need to get into is done via the medium of crane or forklift. After they, of course, chop the side of the building off every single time. And for some reason, all those guys with the cars that say Eknal Ubma on them keep getting mad at me and tell me to lose some goddamn weight. But, you know, they're just jealous of how special and important I am.
Hopefully not, because it's impossible.
It's impossible to climb a staircase with broken stairs. I mean, you didn't say all of them, and it depends what kind of staircase it is. Because, yeah, you could skip steps, or if they're one of those carved out of rock types of staircases, well then that's just going to be a hill. So, I know, I'm being pretty petty again, but these guys always make these weird, broad, sweeping statements that make no sense if you scrutinize them even a little bit. No wonder they're into the Bible and act as if it's some kind of shit you find convincing.
The same thing goes with climbing an argument with unsound or broken steps.
You don't climb arguments, you talk about them. No wonder you think that some idiot can dismantle evolutionary arguments when all you have been doing is walking over them instead of actually engaging with them.
It may look like it can be used safely, but once it's put into practice, it collapses.
Again, the broken stairs analogy is so fucking bad, and it's clear that in it, only some of the stairs are broken, so again, you could just skip them. And even if part of it's broken, that doesn't mean the whole thing is going to fall apart. It means that bit likely will, but you can still absolutely get to the top.
The logic is not able to hold up to scrutiny.
What I think would be a better for your bad logic idea would to have something like a rope bridge with shitty frayed ropes that can barely hold the bridge itself together. That represents the bad argument, so it snaps and people fall into an infinite death pit, preferably a lot of them. And wait, I forgot what I was talking about. I was just in my happy place for some reason.
We continue our look at logical fallacies and how to spot them.
Oh, I know this one. You find any argument for the Bible as an actual factual book of science, and it's any of those. There will be some kind of logical fallacy, I guarantee it. Most of them an argument from a false authority, which is like an argument from authority, but infinitely worse. Hopefully that doesn't come up repeatedly in this video. That would be embarrassing.
Specifically, do the arguments for evolution have sound stairs to climb?
Yes, because the arguments for evolution have something that the, with many quote-unquote competing ideas, do not. The extremely helpful foundation of being a fucking fact. Evolution is a thing that literally happens. If you don't think it does, good for you. You're factually wrong. No truth TM needed, only observations and the ability to understand them. Unfortunately, I doubt these guys have any of that. Fallacy 4, faulty appeal to authority. Well, I don't know what happened to the others, but damn would you look at that. The guys whose entire worldview is based on a faulty appeal to authority are going to say, nuh-uh, that's what you're doing, and even if we are doing it, it's okay when we're hypocrites. Awesome.
I've heard a lot of people say, well, scientists say that the Earth is however millions of years old.
Do you not think to ask why scientists say that? And, you know, it's not just scientists who are saying that. Any scientist could say anything, but being a scientist doesn't make you an expert in anything. What's more compelling is that geologists say that the Earth is millions of years old, because, well, they're the ones who are studying it. But even that doesn't really matter, because what someone really means when they say that is that the evidence says that the Earth is millions of years old. You know why it does that? Because it fucking is.
Scientists say that the universe is this many billions of years old. They say that and I'm just going to just trust them.
No, that's not how it works. We don't just trust the scientists. We trust the results that come from their work. And we don't just trust that on its face. It is subject to rigorous scrutiny by multiple experts in that particular field and beyond, looking for mistakes in the methodology and the conclusions and everything else on the table. So yeah, no, good try, Professor Strawman, but next time, say something that's actually, like, true.
You're not smarter than the scientist. I'm not smarter than the scientist. I'm just smarter than you because I'm listening to the scientist.
Oh my god, are you serious? Is that what you think people mean when they talk about the science? Is that how you feel? Don't talk about science. You think you're smarter than I am? Wah. My god, man, get a grip. No one's saying they are smarter than you are. They're saying you are dumber than them, because you so obviously are, you big dumbass.
What do we say to those people?
That is a fallacy. That's it's called the faulty appeal to authority.
Right, so some people saying scientists say X is the logical fallacy of appeal to authority. But here's the thing about logical fallacies, and you are just gonna fucking love this, but just because you say something that is logically fallacious doesn't mean that you're wrong. And when someone says scientists say that the earth is millions of years old as an argument for that position, all those things are facts. Scientists do say that because the earth is millions of years old. It's only fallacious because the statement itself doesn't contain any evidence. But saying something that is fallacious doesn't make the actual factual claim wrong. And in fact, saying that it does make it wrong, in this instance by inference, is called a fallacy. AKA, something isn't wrong just because they used an informal fallacy. That's why it's so fun whenever you guys bring them up. You know, because everything you believe is so wrong. Good job.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't work on me because I'm a scientist.
Oh, fuckity oh, what did he just do there? Was that an appeal to one's own authority? I don't know, but it fucking sounds like one. And a false one at that. Because what does that actually mean? Not a whole heap of fuck all, it doesn't. And I'll tell you that for nothing, because it was gibberish mostly.
So when scientists say this, I'm like, I don't say that. I'm a scientist.
Christ alive, when old mate here says, me I'm the science boy, we say, okay, what kind? And he then quickly hides in a hole to avoid those pesky questions, because he ain't no geologist. No, he's actually an astrophysicist. Shocking, I know, but his degree in astrophysics is real, but that still means his personal opinions on the science of how this planet works are about as useful as my personal opinions on how not to drink all the whiskey, aka worthless. And he knows that. And he knows that when people say that the scientists say, what they mean is that the experts on the topic say. And his response to that is apparently supposed to sound like, I'm an expert too. But he might as well have said, it doesn't work on me because I'm a fucking salad.
When we talk about stuff or matter or life or energy, do you believe that those things are eternal or that they had a beginning point?
When the hell did this become a vox pop? And why are you talking to random strangers? I seriously will never understand the point of these. Well, okay, that's a lie. I do. But I don't understand why anyone gives them any credence whatsoever. Because 99% of the time, all they are used for is, let's find X amount of people who prove whatever asinine point I have. And then they just show those clips. Seriously, maybe if you showed everything, these might have some utility.
I'll leave it up to the scientist.
Well, isn't that just too goddamn convenient? That's exactly the answer you wanted him to give you. In fact, that's precisely the answer you would have written for him to give, I'll bet. In fact, if I was such a betterizer, I would gamble all the world's whiskey on that guy being someone you told to say that. And if I'm right, you know that whole thing about not lying that God wants you to do? Well, you know, enjoy hell.
A lot of times people will say science says.
Sure, yeah.
And then it becomes a reification fallacy.
Ah, look at you pulling out the fancy fallacies now. And okay, the reification fallacy describes misattributing the status of an abstract concept as if it's some kind of item that exists in the world, like saying that evil exists as does this bottle of delicious bourbon. Okay, That one doesn't really work because the bourbon's all gone. But you know what I mean. However, I'm not sure it really applies, because while the theory of evolution would probably count as abstract, what it describes is a thing that actually happens. It's a process that is very much as real as anything else. But you know what's not real? Creationism. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Because science doesn't say anything. Science is a set of tools. It takes a person to say something.
If that's the reason to put it like that, I don't even know what you're trying to say. Yeah, people say things, but the science is a set of tools is a semantic argument when people say science says X. What they tend to mean, and if you're really a scientist, you should probably understand this, that the facts we have discovered using those very powerful tools have been demonstrated to be a certain way. All of this is just you dancing around that fact so that you don't actually have to address it, because you can't. At least not without looking stupid. Although you would think he'd be used to that.
But a lot of times the reason people will phrase it science says is because it sounds very impressive, right? I mean, it's rhetorically persuasive because we all respect science as a tool.
I seriously doubt that you respect science as, well, anything, because you so readily dismiss massive swathes of it, including a ton of your own fucking field, which is frankly kind of telling. One assumes that you literally only got that degree to give your arguments more weight, instead of out of anything so noble as a genuine curiosity. And again, no, people say that's what the science says because it's an extremely simple way of saying the evidence, the papers, the studies, the mountains of work, and the overwhelming consensus, and all the other things that show that evolution or whatever is in fact a fact. When you can more easily just say the science, and everyone on the planet understands that they mean what I just said. Unless you want to sit there and pretend they don't understand what is meant because of how honest you are.
Puts people on the moon, makes computers work, and so on. We respect that, we should.
Funny that you mention that, because exactly what has, I don't know, ancient religious texts written by morons done in that regard? Not a whole lot. And I would argue literally nothing to a negative value, at least in that regard, seeing as they have gotten in the way of progress more than they have helped it by orders of magnitude. Whereas, again, to be specific, the study of evolution has done a shitload, not only for our understanding of the natural world, but also our understanding of how our bodies work and ways of making them work better. Also, known as medicine. And the Bible has largely provided what could most charitably be described as barbarism to our medical knowledge.
And I respect them if they say scientists say, because they've at least taken a step in the right direction.
I would imagine you respect them as much as you respect science itself. That is to say, only if you think they can help further your little agenda. And not at all if they say anything that goes against it, when it's basically trash to go out with the rest of the garbage. Because my book, though, aren't me the scientifics.
But most people don't. They'll say science says, because you put a face on it, all of a sudden you got a person who can make mistakes.
No, you disingenuous fuck. There are a few reasons that most people say science says whatever, and I would bet almost all of them are because it's just easier. But the idea, if they said this or that scientist who is, say, an expert in their field, states X, that somehow would be a bad thing is completely ludicrous. And the thing is, they probably wouldn't name names because they don't know the names, because the names aren't fucking important. Because as you kind of half said something true there, yes, an individual could be wrong. But that's why the collective of science is what we're talking about. I mean, if someone cited you for your fucking stupid opinions on how light works in space, that would be an extremely dumb thing to do. Not because people can make mistakes, but because you represent an absolute outlier in your field. The vast majority of astrophysicists understand that light is very old and is a thing that helps demonstrate an old universe. Now, that's not to say the collectives couldn't or haven't been wrong in the past, but your beliefs are exactly that kind of wrong thing that most people thought was correct until they found evidence that showed otherwise.
The appeal to authority is tricky because not all appeals to authority are faulty appeals to authority.
Right.
Oh, god damn it. And what's the guessing where he's going with this? I couldn't find this faulty appeal to authority thing because I just thought that that's what he was calling an appeal to authority, because all appeals to authority are necessarily fallacious as an evidentiary standard, but that doesn't mean the thing is wrong, just that an authority saying X doesn't make X true.
I do have a certain degree of respect when a scientist makes a claim about something. Here's my research, and I believe that this rock that we collected from the moon, it's a basalt, and here's my reasons for believing that.
Isn't basalt like a definition of a type of rock? Like having reasons for believing it would be because it's basalt rock. What an utterly bizarre example. The kind of simplistic nonsense I would expect from someone who doesn't know dick all about geology. Oh, that's right, yeah.
Okay, I would accept that. That's not a faulty appeal. A faulty appeal is when you appeal to an expert when they're commenting on something that is either outside of their area of expertise or where they have a noticeable bias that would cause them to draw a wrong conclusion in that area. You'll notice that evolutionists fit both of those criteria, at least in my worldview.
Oh great, you've defined your terms, and in such a way that completely excludes you from talking about the age of the Earth or evolution or a whole heap of other things, because again, astrophysicist. So I think we're done here. You can shut the fuck up, and we will keep referencing science when we're talking about the things that are literally the science. Cool.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the